Hey there, welcome to the clinic. Grab a seat. So today we're going to go through an explainer that will honestly completely change how you view your relationship with your furry best friend, sitting right there beside you. As a vet, I get asked literally all the time about what our dogs are actually thinking. Take my client Mark and his golden retriever Bella, for example. Like so many of us, Mark loves to project his own human emotions onto Bella. He kind of just assumes she processes the world exactly the way he does. But the reality is actually so much more fascinating than that. So let's step out of our own shoes and, directly into their paws.
All right, let's just dive right in by asking a really fundamental question, one that completely challenges everything we assume about our pets. Does your dog actually know you are human? I mean, think about it. When Mark looks down at Bella, he knows she's a dog, right? And he knows he's a human. He understands the biology, the evolution, the whole cross-species friendship thing. But does Bella know that? When she looks up at him, is she seeing a homeless sapiens? Let's look at what the research in canine psychology actually tell us about this dynamic.
Okay, this might sound a little shocking at first. You might even be kind of surprised by this. But fascinating psychological research presents this premise. Your dog doesn't view you as a different species at all. Nope. To Bella, the abstract concept of a human just doesn't exist in her brain. Instead, she actually views Mark as a very strange, maybe somewhat clumsy, giant member of her own pack. From a psychological standpoint, you are basically just a really tall, oddly shaped dog. A dog who somehow possesses this magical ability to open doors, drive a car, and, most importantly, dispense treats.
So, part 1, decoding the pet-human bond. To really figure this bond out, we have to define their perspective. And that means completely stripping away our human reasoning. See, we use logic, history, and abstract thought to make sense of our homes. Dogs, they don't do that. Imagine for a second walking into a room blindfolded and trying to understand what's happening based only on the smell of the air and the vibrations on the floor. That's the canine perspective. For Bella, her world is built purely on immediate sensory input and instinctual pack dynamics, not logic. Actually, scratch that. It's more like pure reflex. She isn't rationalizing why Mark went to the kitchen, she's just reacting to the sound of the kibble bag and the smell of the food.
Moving on to Section 2, the canine sensory experience.
This really illustrates the massive divide between us. While Mark navigates his home through visual cues and spoken words, he sees the couch, he spots the red ball, he listens to the TV, Bella is reading the room like a thermal camera, but for scent. She doesn't just visually see Mark sitting there. She literally smells the microscopic chemical changes in his body. She feels the microtension in his posture, and she absorbs his emotional energy. Their world is painted in this complex, swirling gradient of scent and emotion, rather than just static colors and shapes.
So the absolutely crucial point I always try to emphasize to my clients is that dogs do not visually categorize your human shape. When Bella looks at Mark, she isn't cataloging his physical human traits or, noticing his new haircut. Instead, she perceives a comforting, towering collection of familiar scents and predictable routines. To her, Mark is essentially a walking, breathing environment. When he's calm, she feels safe. When he's anxious, his scent actually changes, his cortisol levels spike, and she feels that shift in the pack's equilibrium instantly.
Which brings us to Section 3, understanding true pack dynamics.
Now, a dog's social structure is actually incredibly simple compared to ours. Think of it as a set of non-negotiable biological laws. Number 1, scent dictates identity, not physical appearance. Number 2, consistency equals safety and trust. And number 3, and this is super vital for us as owners, leadership is established through calm energy, not spoken commands. See, Bella is looking for safety and leadership based entirely on Mark's energetic presence, completely regardless of his species. If the giant dog, Mark, is frantic, well, the pack is in danger. If the giant dog is calm and grounded, the pack is secure.
Let's put this into a real-world scenario. Think about what happens when Mark walks through the front door after a long, stressful day at work. Bella goes through these rapid steps, totally bypassing any abstract thought like, oh, my human is home. First, she smells his current emotional state. She picks up the stress of his commute instantly, before he even takes his coat off. Second, she observes his posture and tension. Are his shoulders tight? Is his breathing shallow? And third, she adjusts to the pack's immediate balance. She basically meets his energy right where it is, reacting purely to the state of mind he's bringing into her environment.
Finally, Section 4, why your dog loves you.
Realizing that they don't really comprehend your humanity doesn't diminish your bond at all. In fact, from a veterinarian perspective, it actually makes the connection you share so much more profound. You are two completely different beings, experiencing the exact same living room in vastly different ways. I mean, Mark sees a house, Bella feels a den. Mark worries about tomorrow, Bella exists entirely in the present moment. And yet somehow you find a way to communicate, to comfort one another, and to form a cohesive family unit. It's an absolutely incredible biological and psychological bridge that you guys build together every single day.
I want to leave you with this final thought to ponder the next time you look into your pet's eyes. Knowing your dog doesn't see you as human, isn't it incredible that they cross that massive psychological divide to trust and love you anyway? Bella really doesn't care about Mark's job, his clothes, his bank account, or, his species. She cares about his energy, his scent, and his safe presence in her pack. And honestly, that is a truly unconditional love. Thanks so much for joining me in the clinic for this explainer. Until next time, give your very strange, giant pack members a treat for me.